You are watching Fugitive Red Eye, and it's that time again for another exciting episode of Tales from the Drive-Thru. The series where I talk about my exploits working in the fast food industry. Now, in the first episode, I briefly mentioned a manager I had, which I referred to as Rimmer. Now, Rimmer was an interesting guy. He was super OCD, and I honestly think he was a little depressed, and, probably a little bit, repressed. But, the things that I enjoyed the most about his shifts were messing around with him. Number one, he always had to have the sauces, like the dipping sauces for the chicken nuggets. He always had to have them stacked in a very particular order. And I would intentionally fuck with those to make it so that he would freak out, and he would always wonder who it was. I would also, every time it was his shift, I'd go into the manager's office and I'd type 666 on all the calculators. Eventually he figured it out because some other stupid coworker of mine, we'll get to him in a later episode, got caught doing it because, he was trying to be funny. But, anyway, Rimmer was, he was kind of interesting to work with. He was obviously the one who got spit in the face by the smoky juicy guy, but he was so much more than that. As much as it pains me to say it, to an extent I kind of miss working with him. Sure, I hated him. I didn't hate him. That's unfair. Sure, I hated things about him. He was super fucking, caring about his job. His job was the thing he cared about the most, and he intended to work in fast food for his entire life. And, he was kind of a bit, arrogant. He was really arrogant, and he was, always talking about, oh, it's against the law, you gotta follow the law, follow company policy. And yet, at the same time, he had a lenient side, where I could show up I showed up an hour late on his shift once. And, no, it was 2 hours late. I showed up 2 hours late. And, because I was watching the Star Wars holiday special instead of going to work. Oh. I know, I'm a weird person. But anyway, I showed up 2 hours late, and Rimmer's like, "What's up, Angelo? How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I'm late." He's like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, it's okay." He didn't even question it. He fucking just let it go. And, true, there was one night where, this is the thing I hated the most about him, there was one night where this fucking guy came in, right? He ordered like 30 to 40 bucks worth of food, okay? And, after that, he fucking asked for a couple of sauce packets, and, Rimmer goes up with the company policy being fucking shit about sauce. He goes up and, tells him, "I'm sorry, I can only give you one sauce." So, as soon as Rimmer walks away, me being the fucking rebel that I am, because, I'm such a fucking badass, I walk up, and I hand the guy, 3 fucking sauce packets. I'm like, "Here you go." And he's like, "Sir, you gotta pay for those, I'm gonna call the cops." Then he had me sign this fucking paper, because the guy ran out of there with the sauce, and, I felt good about it, because I think it's bullshit to charge, for a sauce packet when this guy orders, 30 to 40 bucks worth of food. But, Rimmer, he walks up, and he tells me to sign this little paper, right? Well, no, first, let me back up a bit. He fucking shouts at me, right? He looks me in the eye, and he shouts, "Don't you ever fucking give out sauce like that again! You fucking hear me?" So, I go to the back, and for the rest of my shift, I sit on my ass and do nothing. And he doesn't have the balls to do shit. He just lets me sit there and do absolutely nothing while he has to man the drive-thru, the cash register, and the lobby, because me and him were the only two there on that night shift. Other than the grill people, of course. So then, after a while, I get ready to go home for my shift. I make a little sign, says, "Rimmer is a little bitch," and I hang it above the freezer, and I leave it there. And, I don't know if it got taken down, or if he left it up, or if he saw it, or what, but I just left it there when I left. And he made me sign this little paper. He's like, "It's not an official write-up, it's just to kind of document what happened. To kind of show, the boss what happened." Boss didn't say shit to me, nobody cared. What the hell was his problem? But then the other thing about Rimmer was, he also was always seeking everyone's approval. Not just, not just trying to abide company policy, but, sucking up to the employees and trying to gain our approval, acting like I was his best friend, even though, to be fair, I kind of treated him like shit, but you know what? I enjoyed every moment of it. But there was something else about him, something actually respectable. He did not take shit from the customers. He took shit from management all the time, which I'll get to in just a moment, but he did not take any shit from the customers. So, with the customers, he frequently told people never to come back. I remember one time, there was this lady who came through the drive-thru, this group of people actually, a bunch of teenagers in a car, and they said, they were saying a bunch of stupid shit. I can't remember what all they were saying. So Rimmer gets on the headset and he's like, you know what, I kind of regret taking your order. And they left. But again, there's also that Weasley part of him, which I don't like. I mean, there was this guy smoking weed out in the drive-thru, which is illegal here, to be fair. But, he goes and he's like, I've already called the cops, you better get out of here. I mean, yeah, the guy was breaking the law, to be fair, and it was, within range of the drive-thru, so against smoking laws, too, but, regardless, I don't know, it felt like kind of a dick move, I think. Because, I'm no snitch. I mean, again, I don't break the law myself, but I'm no snitch. But anyway, that being said, fuck. But, then again, like I said, there was that respectable side, and lots of us joked about him, too. For instance, when he was working, like I said, he seemed really depressed. Well, we would always joke and say, well, one day he's gonna come in and shoot the place up naked with a shotgun. And I would always say, and on that day, I'm not gonna stand in his way. And the thing is he seemed like the kind of guy that would snap, which, given the way he, transferred out of that location, I wouldn't put it past him. But then, he met this chick. This chick that was a manager at another McDonald's. And, he liked her. So much so that he actually got her pregnant. I didn't think the fucker had it in him. Proved my entire thing about him being a total, religious, person with no, ambition to, get the pussy. And that's not a knock at religious people or women, I'm just saying, I just didn't think he had it in him. I thought he was celibate. But then, after a while, I think he'd had enough of management, because they'd always have him cover every manager's shift whenever they didn't want it, and he couldn't say no, because, he was a good little boy. But, he worked a 24-hour shift once, which, I think is technically partially illegal. Don't quote me on that, but I'm not sure. But anyway, he, he always would do exactly what they told him to do, and even if he didn't want to, he'd fucking do it. And, he'd always bitch about it, and I'd tell him, Rimmer, why in the hell do you take this shit from them? He'd be like, well, one of these days I'm gonna get back. One of these days I'm gonna just tell them. I should have told them no, and you know what? One of these days I'm just not gonna take their shit anymore. Now, he had requested to be transferred multiple times, because to be fair, my store manager treated him like shit. So, he went over my manager's head eventually to get transferred. And she still wouldn't let him, because he went to a supervisor and shit. But, he was still denied transfer, so this is the best bit. He went up to my store manager and he told her, if you don't let me transfer, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna kill every single person here. Now that's a fucking bold statement to make with how crazy the world is these days, but he fucking did it. And for that, Rimmer, you will always have a special place in my heart, and I will miss you. This has been Tales from the Drive-Thru. I'm Fugitive Red-Eye, and I will see you for the next exciting tale from the Drive-Thru.
fine.